Yo, Eric, we're over here on the paranormal hunt, and I headed over to this other building, and it's number 13. I was just telling Ron, my God.
Well, I think today's Tuesday. I hope it's Tuesday. We're getting closer to the holidays. I guess the big day is Christmas week is starting, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I know a lot of you people are probably stressed out, buying presents, driving around. So if we're like your little break for the day, that's awesome. Love being everybody's little break, little relaxation before you go back out to the parking lot.
Want to hear something messed up? My wife wanted a Bluetooth HP color printer. So I ordered it from Amazon, right? And it comes in finally like 3 weeks later, and it's refurbished. And when I ordered it, it didn't say anything about being refurbished. Now, if I send it back, I'd have to get another one. I won't get it till February.
Now, when you mentioned, did you mention to Amazon that the one you got sent was refurbished? Because I would think they would refund a little bit to you, right?
They told me to keep the one that I have, and they'll send another one because it didn't say that it was refurbished under the thing. So I made like this big argument with them, and they told me to keep the item, and they'll send out another one, but I won't get it till February.
Oh, back orders. Yep. I mean, I don't mind refurbished as long as I know that I'm buying a refurbished at a cheaper price.
Yeah, I had
if
no
you're
clue.
paying full price, then why would you want refurbished?
Full price. Yeah, exactly.
You want to talk about screw up? I'm supposed to be on the road right now. I'm here because my medicines, 2 of them are coming in later today. They said they were out of stock and they couldn't transfer because my doctor's away in India. So I have to wait now. It's 4 o'clock, maybe.
Eric had said to me, "Oh no, yeah, Ron's supposed to be gone." I said, "No, I think he's leaving tomorrow because he's here."
I was supposed to be driving at 9 this morning.
Eric was right.
I guess it's Darth Vader Santa. I think he's the one that's doing it.
Eric put the whammy on me. Come to the show.
He put the rule on.
I'm glad to be here.
Now, this is going to be interesting, people, because researching certain topics are easier than others. I mean, researching like Roswell. I mean, there's so many different directions you could go with Roswell. There's researching Amityville Horror we did yesterday. So many different directions, interviews you could find. Man, it wasn't easy to find anything on the 1994 UFO Michigan. I mean, it's like it's limited, and it's just weird because when you read and hear about it, the amount of people that have seen this thing and all that, in theory, you would think it'd be bigger than it is, And 1994, I actually remember 1994 because 1994 was really fun. As my brother he got out of boot camp in 1994. We got in a truck with another person when you were allowed to ride in the back of the trucks before you're not allowed back there no more. We did like a Lollapalooza concert. People used to get back in the trucks and drove to LA for Lollapalooza. 94 was the year that Green Day kind of broke out. I remember like No Doubt hit the scene. It was kind of a cool year, 1994, because for a rock person, there were so many different kind of rock that came out in 94 that was popular. You had punk, you had your regular rock, you had ska music. I mean, it was like, in the rock world, it was like the best of both worlds because you had every version of rock that was out there. But according to Michigan, I'm not going to put the video on yet. Let me just pull up. We'll talk a little bit about it first. This is the Unsolved Mysteries Investigates 1994 alleged UFO sightings that still haunts witness. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? It's an unidentified flying object. And I guess, Netflix has an episode, according to this, that's on Unsolved Mysteries that was focused on the Michigan UFO sightings. Nearly on March 8th, 1994, an event that still haunts witnesses. It says, according to this, before we look at the video, it says more than 300 calls flooded into 911 from people residing along Michigan to report strange lights and objects in the sky. Now, that's 300 people that actually went out and called. So you take the percentage of people who don't call and see things, people who do, you probably got to time that number by 3. Like, it's probably 9 to 1,000 people that seen this. Only a small percentage of people who will actually call 911.
It was a lot of 911 calls that came in for this particular case.
Let's see here. It says 4 lights in the sky. Well, we got a video. We're going to play a video. But according to this report, it was one of the largest UFO sightings in UFO history, and it remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries. But the thing is, this is not an easy one to find versus the other UFO sightings. It's like, why? If it's one of the biggest, I mean, why is it not talked about like the other ones? Here, let's I'll play a video to kind of explain on what people saw. Here, let me pull this up.
One now.
Speaking with Bill Konkoleski, director of...
Go back. Here we go. So, March 8, 1994, West Michigan. So, I guess West is more better than the East Michigan. Where's this Chad Smith live? He lives in Michigan, right? I wonder if he lives on the west side or east side. 25th anniversary story.
He's in Michigan.
I wonder if he was seen anything part of that day.
I don't know what year Chad was born. I don't know if
that's true. He's just a little baby.
They're younger. They're a couple of years younger.
You're right, because I think in '94 I turned 21 and I went to Vegas. And
I think that was the day he was brought to Earth.
Could be. I got to ask him.
Yeah.
Well, let's check out.
Welcome back to News Channel 3 Live at 6 on this Friday evening. I'm Andy Dominiani.
And I'm Kate Tillotson. 25 years ago today, hundreds of people in West Michigan reported seeing strange lights in the night sky. To this day, the cause remains largely unknown.
It really is a mystery, and over the years, the case has brought a lot of national attention to us from UFO investigators. Our meteorologist Will Haenni spoke to the woman today who says she remembers Will that night very well and what she witnessed very vividly.
Yeah, Kate and Andy, this event was made famous due to the number of people that claimed to witness the lights. Residents in places like Grand Haven, Holland, and other lakeshore towns reported seeing the strange phenomenon in the night sky. Here at News Channel 3, our phones rang off the hook with people calling in their reports. It's a night many Michiganders still remember.
Yes, I was on the phone, corded phone, and I'm a pacer. And I looked out the window, and the bright lights surprised me.
Cindy Pravda still lives in the same Grand Haven home 25 years later to the day.
The more I looked at it, I'm seeing 4 lights. They're like the size of the full moon.
Her story has even been featured on a cable TV series. She wasn't the only one. Several hundred reports of strange lights in the night sky started flooding local dispatch centers like the one in Ottawa County.
Have you heard anything about these lights that are flickering up here in the east, southeast area?
The dispatch center quickly contacted the National Weather Service at the time in Muskegon to see if anything was showing up on radar.
Now I'm getting multiple returns. I'm getting a third one now.
Speaking with Bill Konkoleski, director of the Mutual UFO Network's Michigan chapter, he says over 300 people witnessed the event. The organization usually receives a few hundred reports of UFOs every year, 80 to 90% of which they find explanations for. He says it's still the most notable UFO event of its kind in the last 50 years.
Pretty much knew immediately. It wasn't helicopters. It was nothing else that I could explain.
Meteorologists with the National Weather Service today said the man operating the radar at the time was still new on the job. They said a temperature inversion, a layer of warm air a few thousand feet above the Earth's surface, could have been the culprit for the strange returns on radar, something called ground clutter. That being said, some of the visual reports are still...
Exactly. You're muted, bro.
I'm sorry about that. Sometimes I don't want to echo. Ground clutter? I mean, I must have misheard that part.
Inversion.
I mean, I've heard a lot of different stuff out there, but now they're calling it ground clutter?
Temperature
inversion.
inversion.
What the hell? What does he mean by ground clutter? What exactly is the definition of ground clutter?
If they would have said sky clutter, maybe. But ground clutter, what is? I don't understand what that has to. That just insults everybody's intelligence. That's all it is. You know, they think it's a joke. First of all, I don't care what they say and what they report on. They all turn around. Oh, the little green men. That's all they always say.
Yep.
They think it's a joke. You know?
300 witnesses, 300 eyewitnesses, and they want to say ground clutter or temperature inversion messing with the tracking systems. No, there was unidentified flying aircraft in the sky, and it was spotted by over 300 people. So I'm sure some of them were law enforcement too.
You're right.
That was the ground clutter. All the people.
But, right.
That's the key part you said. You said 300 people. What? All 300 people saw ground clutter?
Well, what they mean by ground clutter is they're talking about the interference with the tracking software, the satellite tracking software. I think that's what they mean by the clutter. But other than that, it doesn't make any sense because, like I said, all the eyewitnesses, you know?
Well, they must all be crazy. They must have, it's Michigan, right? They must have drank the water or something, or somebody dropped chemicals. Or maybe the fluoride is different in their water or something. There's got to be a reason, because the ground clutter sounds like a good reason.
I even put a link there for you. You probably have it already.
Actually, I clicked on it in the private chat. It made a tab for it.
Yeah.
Hard to fully explain. Live in the newsroom, meteorologist Will Haenni, News Channel.
Follow-up story with Jack. Before the follow-up story, do we know anything about this Jack Bushong by any chance? Like, is he known or something by any chance? Or do you just want an interviewer?
Probably somebody that got interviewed.
Just want to make sure,
Well, the night of March 8th, 1994.
What's that?
That's not the link I sent you, though, right?
That one you sent the retired meteorologist, what he does.
Oh yeah.
He does.
That's it. I didn't know who that name was. It's some meteorologist. Like that makes it.
He does show up in these videos. I think he becomes the primary video guy when they show him. So let's see.
Many people in our area remember it was a cold and clear night when our newsroom phones began ringing off the hook with reports of strange lights in the sky and in and around Ottawa County. Meteorologist Will Haenni joins us live now with an interesting follow-up on that mysterious night. Hey, Will.
Yeah, hey there, Kate. Behind me, you're looking at video we shot back in March 2019. On the 25-year anniversary, I interviewed Cindy Pravda in Grand Haven. You may even remember, she says on March 8th, 1994, she saw 4 balls of light in the sky just behind her home. She says they were there for about 15 minutes, then completely vanished. Now, just recently, a now retired National Weather Service meteorologist reached out to me. He says he was manning the radar that night. Now, Jack Bushong says he's more comfortable speaking about the events after the Department of Defense declassified a series of videos which the Pentagon says portray unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Let me ask you guys a second. As soon as the government kind of, said they're going to have a panel and all that stuff, did you guys see an increase of people finally deciding to come out? Because there's 2 ways to look at it. It might encourage some people to come out saying, oh, well, they're going to disqualify everything anyway. Or the other half you could think of are people saying, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon.
I remember my mom saying to me, how does it feel to be vindicated? She had said to me. And I said, well, I knew all along I really didn't have to be vindicated. But I think it gave her more culpability where she was like, all right, so those things we've seen in the sky together that night could have been UFOs and not satellites. More people, when they hear it coming from the government, it makes it more credible to them, I think. A lot of people,
I think especially with the older generation.
Yeah.
Because that's what they kind of grew up on, government, trusting government, working hard for the man, paying your tax. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but where a lot of people now like, man, those guys are all just thieves. They're all there just for power and hunger. They don't really care about you. How can somebody care about the poor when they grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth their whole life?
True.
It's it is what it is.
It is.
Old night in early March, he received a call from Ottawa County Dispatch. After fielding over 60 reports of strange lights in the sky, the dispatcher wanted to know if Bashong could see anything on weather radar. It turns out he could. He saw several objects moving in what he described as a geometric pattern.
While I was watching it, it just stopped and started hovering for a while. And then it shot up about 5,000 feet and 10,000 feet. I was getting it, and then just straight up. At this point, the police officer was saying that he was seeing the same thing with that same object, and as I was trying to describe where the objects were, it was they were just moved. There was just moving so fast, and two more started coming into play there that I really had little time to actually describe where they were before they had moved and jumped again.
Yeah, if you want to hear more of Bashong's accounts from that night, head on over to this story on the homepage of WWMT.com right now. There we break down a little more behind the radar observations that he made, and you can also read about how information the Navy declassified earlier this year about UFOs compares to this infamous night in West Michigan.
Let me see, I have another one. It's almost the exact same thing, but I wonder if I know it's a little longer. I wonder if they say any extra information here. I'll just play a little bit. If it looks like it could be exactly the same, I'll stop it.
Our investigators are getting a West Michigan take on the federal government's change of heart about UFOs. The government went from denying unexplainable sightings to admitting people are seeing things.
Exactly what Anthony said. A lot of the older generation felt vindicated once the government came out. So kind of says it right there.
That nobody can identify, and releasing military video of some of them.
It wasn't like that, though, in 1994, when strange lights lit the sky over the lakeshore. Tonight, our Target 8 investigators are discovering how that sighting changed.
And people, sometimes I like to listen to different sources of the same thing just to see if they're saying something different that we didn't hear. Was there something extra? There's always something you can miss. So when you do investigations, you do listen to the story through different news, different people, just to see if the story is the same, it changes, because that's where you start to say, oh, okay, this is different, this is different, this is different.
Exactly.
So you learn a lot that way, just let people know.
The lives of the people who watched it, and the government's new attitude, what it means to them.
Here's Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.
Date 3/8/94. The time 21:30 hours. We're right there in the sky.
It's kind of more like a
This is something we've never seen before.
Unexplained lights over Holland on March 8th, 1994. Strange stuff. Didn't look like a plane or anything else people are used to. Had them calling 911.
Okay, I don't know if you guys do anything on UFOs at all. There were at least 4 lights.
And people, when you listen to 911 calls, what you're really truly looking for is how he's saying it. You're trying to understand the person itself. What is he feeling? Because, when a lot of people are a little bit scared and stuff, then you kind of know, okay, you know what? That man is just not calling bullshit. So, and this doesn't sound like the fake story where the girl got a bunch of college friends and all that and calling in, It's the one thing of doing that, but trying to get over 300 people to do that. No, you know.
And he said, "I got a real one." I love that.
She called the news, calling the police department, and falsifying a call.
You could get arrested.
For that. Yeah,
you could get arrested for that. Yeah.
They were like Christmas lights.
Holly Graves' family watched for 20 minutes from their front yard. Colored lights slowly rotating.
When all of a sudden my son just started screaming, you know, get out here, you got to see this.
All the way from Ludington.
It was a big sighting. There was a lot of news coverage. And for a while, Holly kept her kids out of school.
And they just went through.
Wow, listen to that. That's scary. Seeing something where you think it's that real to keep your kids out of school. I mean, you don't usually hear that unless you had that evil word with people, what's going on in the world with the shooting and all that kind of stuff. But to do that just for seeing lights in the sky, I'm telling you, that's got to be one hell of a lights to be.
We weren't there. Who knows what it looked like, Eric? You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. Exactly. I mean, it had to be something a little extra pizzazz.
Yeah, it must have been really frightening.
Yeah.
A really hard time because they know what they saw, but it's like everybody still laughed at you.
People forget that the U in UFO stands for unidentified. That means nobody knows what they are. Still, that's never stopped people from speculating, sometimes choosing up sides, even getting nasty.
They accused us of being in the backyard smoking weed doing drugs with our kids. That was MUFON.
It's been nearly 30 years, but the experience.
Anthony, Ron, every time you saw one, were you guys smoking green in the backyard?
No.
Nope.
Okay, just gotta double check because that's probably why that's probably maybe everybody's Michiganers pot smokers. All 300 were pot smokers.
But that's what I mean. Everybody with reporting is like now nobody likes to wants to be ridiculed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And especially in public forums. So now, like you said before, with the news or the government and everything, that's why more people imagine when they open up even more, how many more stories will come out of what people have seen. There's probably so much more other incidents, maybe they're landings that we don't know about that people are going to say. They're going to think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So
exactly. And somebody's Carlos Skywatcher is correct in the chat. You're telling me we got over 30 and only got like 19 thumbs up?
Come on, guys.
What is wrong with that?
Those thumbs up over there.
Come on. Or at least give me a thumbs down.
Takes 1 second.
I wear Darth Vader Christmas for you guys. Man, I pulled this out of my closet just for you guys. But think about it. Even in theory, she was smoking pot. You're gonna tell me that even if in theory all 300 people called in were smoking pot.
But even if you're smoking weed,
I know, exactly. Bingo. If you're smoking weed, does that guarantee everybody sees 4 lights? So everybody in the chat, if I'm not saying you guys smoke weed, you know, a lot of states you can now. If you do smoke weed, do you guys see 4 lights in the sky? Is that one of the main things you see?
Hell no.
I know. Whoa, dude. I see 4 lights. Whoa. Dude, it just went over there, man.
You don't hallucinate from marijuana unless you're
I know.
dust or something.
I know. It's mostly relaxing. A lot of people use it as medicine to take the pain away.
That's the problem, Eric, with the stigma of ufology back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s. You were considered a crackpot or a kook, right? As we're today, when you report a good sighting, it could become national news.
Well,
you know?
Well, look at Long Island Bigfoot. I see less because I don't get off the couch.
Good man.
And then brown dwarf.
At least you admit it.
Weed. I know, right? This must be Cheech Chong weed.
It's left a mark. Holly says even today her now adult children don't want to talk about it. But listen to her.
I'm glad my family got to see it. I really am. It's like once in a lifetime to see this.
You listen to her nearly 30 years later, and it seems like the experience changed her in some way.
It's an experience that I'll take to my grave with me.
So you're looking at this thing that night, and what
I was thinking I was going to lose my job.
Guys, you hear what he said? He was afraid he'll lose his job. You guys don't know how, that is so true. That's even true to this day, not in the 90s. People are afraid to lose their jobs. There's even claims, and I can't prove none of this, that one of the reasons that that my previous job that I was laid off from, this is like 6-7 years ago, is because I had a channel on YouTube, but it was a channel that talked about everything like this. Some say there was no policy against people doing it, but through the grapevines, through some supervisors that said they're afraid because you're not afraid to speak out, and you're not, because since I'm doing this on air, that they don't want somebody that can speak out because they know that you're not afraid, you're used to it. That's a thing too. So even Anthony and Ron, for themselves, taking a lot of chances for being on air, because what if Anthony wants to sign up for something, I don't know, and they go, hey, isn't Anthony that guy from Unidentified S4? He thinks UFOs are real. We don't want a guy like that in our club. Happens all the time.
Well, I mean, I hope they would value my credibility more on an investigative standpoint.
Well, we're talking about common people that don't even look into it. They, that don't care. So, but what he said is so important, that is the reason why a lot of people don't come out still. Ridicule, or they're afraid to lose your job because, especially you got families and kids, man.
They literally have people, like, they'll say it like you're a nutter or whatever. And there's still a lot of people now that say, oh, it's great. And like they say, oh, that UFOs, you could talk about it. Meanwhile, they still go back, little green man, and goof about it. Like you're a nut or whatever. Because to this day, when I talk about it, I still get neighbors that crack the stupid smile like that. And I just wish they were there that day when I was outside last and the St. Patty's Day, when whatever that was, and I froze. I wish they were there next to me. They wouldn't be smiling like that.
Yeah,
I got a thing from Mike. Mike says, just popping in because he has daddy duty. Now, Mike, if you want to bring your kid in front of this screen, I'll play Unidentified S4 Christmas little video that he played of three of us singing. So if you feel like you want a song to your kid to help him out, I'm more than willing to play that awesome video that
we'll serenade them.
Created.
We'll serenade the kids.
Seeing us sing, singing me sing into Anthony's ears is soothing.
And to Ron's ear. Whoa.
Ron's ear. It's soothing.
Jack Bushong's job was meteorologist for the National Weather Service at a station in Muskegon. Ottawa County Central Dispatch was getting a lot of UFO reports and reached out to him for radar clarity. He found out later their conversation was recorded.
We're getting a whole bunch of calls with some strange lights.
Then I was really scared and I lost sleep.
He fretted about what people would think about what he was seeing.
People think you're a kook, you're lying, you're not credible. I'm supposed to be a scientist and skeptical.
I'm looking at it in the vertical now.
On the recording, you can hear Bushong calmly controlling the radar by hand, trying to zero in. When he finally gets the picture.
Well, oh my God, what is this? They were going together and coming apart.
Oh, hold on. That's very interesting. He says, what did he say? Is coming together and falling apart. So the four lights, were they? So Anthony, are they saying like the four lights are separated, or is it supposed to be one ship?
It could be multiple craft, but just together in a formation, making it look like one solid target.
Look at one solid target, because it was interesting. He said that it looks like it's falling apart. Like
looks like a bunch of peanuts.
Probably separating. Yeah, it looks like kidney beans, right?
Yeah, it really does.
Radar was telling him the objects were forming a wide triangle and moving fast. No recording, so he made these paper tracings of what he was seeing on his screen.
They were moving about 20 miles in each jump. They were hovering and then jumping, hovering and then jumping.
These are huge returns. I've never seen anything like this. Not even when I'm doing storms. You've had storms that are like, they're popping up all over the place.
He says the radar told him he was looking at something solid.
It was a flying tin can, I don't know how else to explain it.
He says some people dismissed what he saw. But despite his worry, the sighting didn't seem to affect his career. He got promoted, moved out of state, won an award for his storm predictions, and eventually retired. But
let's ask a second. He got promoted, he moved out of state. In theory, you think instead of like firing somebody so they shut him up, they'll give you a promotion, make you leave the state so you're not back in that area where you saw the sightings?
If they're gonna fire you, they're gonna just fire you. They're not gonna give you more money to go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Sometimes more money might make you shut up. You know, what if behind? Oh, maybe he would have admitted it that they said.
I don't think there was that much of a proof thing that he could talk about, except saying he saw that they would be willing to give him more money. I mean,
you know,
funny thing was when he said, "Oh my God, what is this?" Those are the exact words I used when I filmed that object over the ocean, that big orange object. I said, "Oh my God, what is this?" Exact words that guy used. I found that funny and interesting. And how he says these craft were jumping around from one spot to the other reminds me of the USS Nimitz with the all the Tic Tacs that came raining down. He said that they were jumping around different positions. It looked like they were jumping from one spot to the next. So that was also interesting.
Carlos wrote, "Few believe that I saw UFOs up close. I'm sorry, it was when I was little and I didn't have a camera." Well, yeah, a lot of us. I mean, a lot of us, even if we had cameras as a kid, these cameras we had as a kid ain't nothing like you get nowadays. Ain't nothing.
I witnessed the UFO on the Delaware, Pennsylvania line. I don't know, about 15 years ago, and it looked like a soccer ball, like a white soccer ball. And in between where all the lines would go on a soccer ball, it was lit up like an electric color blue. And there was about 11, 12 of us that witnessed this together. And I didn't have a camera, but it flew right over the property line, low, maybe 100 feet above treetop height. It was just a round, it looked like a soccer ball. That's exactly what it looked like, but all white. And it just flew right across the field. And I didn't have a camera on me or nothing, but I called that the one that got away because still to this day, that was a crazy sighting, man.
Never know. Might come
Never got
back.
over that one.
Might come back one day. You never know.
all that time, he clammed up about his experience on the lakeshore.
I kept my mouth shut, and I learned that really quickly.
For decades, the government fostered that kind of fear by dismissing UFO reports, explaining them away as people misidentifying stuff like weather balloons. It kept even credible people quiet. After a flock of sightings in Michigan in the 60s, then Congressman Gerald Ford of Grand Rapids said in this letter, the government was misleading the public and called for congressional hearings and more straightforward talk. That took more than 50 years. And lately, there's a big change in government attitude. It's why Bushong is talking about it again.
That has everything to do with it, yeah.
The government is now releasing video of sightings by the military and admitting in this report just released that people really are seeing things that nobody can figure out. Bushong says a lot of the video and descriptions are just like what he saw on radar nearly 30 years ago.
Real quick, I think I just saw that Angel Wing gifted a membership. And if I'm right, then it says here on my StreamYard that using Stream Element says, I think she gifted, if I'm right, Purgatory Paranormal in New York.
I feel like I have deja vu. Didn't that happen yesterday?
She gifted. Yeah, there was a gift yesterday too.
To Purgatory Paranormal, right?
I don't know, but it's showing up on here.
I know, I seen that and I didn't say something because I was like, didn't that happen yesterday?
I'm sneaking in here, laugh out loud. Well, man, you gifting people, that is a Merry Christmas.
If that didn't happen yesterday, I'm having a severe case of deja vu right now.
Well, let me click on new member anyway. I know when I play that one, everybody leaves because that sound just gets so annoying, but it wakes you up saying, hey, wow. Laugh out loud. So, yeah, that was
so weird. You guys don't remember that? Oh, you weren't here. You don't remember that from yesterday, Eric?
Yeah, well, I remember I saw Angel Wing gifted. I didn't see that part of who it was gifted.
Man,
you remember? Wow. Dude, Anthony, you and I, we just experienced a Mandela effect. We don't even know what timeline we are in.
Yeah.
Is it Monday? Or today's Tuesday? It wasn't me yesterday. So she's saying it wasn't me. But
Angel
in our
Wings,
timeline, it was you.
Did you gift a membership yesterday, Angel Wings?
Because somebody was gifted yesterday. I know there was. Man, this is fun. All right, I guess I'm back in 1994. I love that year, 1994. Come on, year.
Oh, she
did
gift
it
one
yesterday.
too. I'm like,
She did.
Well,
who was it yesterday?
Who was it yesterday, though?
She gifted.
War. It was Purgatory Paranormal.
She did gift yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. Like, yeah, I must. And it's kind of cool that it's kind of cool. I didn't know this. That Stream Element told me who she gifted to.
I saw that too. I didn't know it did that. That's
and I don't remember seeing that yesterday. That's
well, thank you,
back
Angel
to the
Wings.
video.
That's very kind of you, honey.
I guess I've been waiting for this vindication, which I didn't think I was going to get all my life, so I was just going to let it die out. But now with the military coming out and basically saying exactly the same thing I saw.
Hold on a second. There's only a little bit left. Do we know during this 1994 lights, was there any military called out by any chance? Is there any reports of military going out there by any chance? Because I didn't see anything about military.
Not that I recall. I think he was having a hard time trying to get the radar return, and then they got it, but I don't think they had time to scramble anything.
He gifted Carlos Watcher, I think, the last time. Not sure now. See, you're experiencing the Angel Wing. You're experiencing the Mandela effect along with us.
I swear to God, Eric, I seen that all yesterday. In my head, I remember that happening all yesterday. She gifted it to Paranormal Purgatory, New York. That's how it's crazy. I can't even explain it right now.
I know that is a good one. That's a good one. See, our minds, people. Did we or did Anthony had a vision of
or it happened on another timeline and I got a glimpse of it.
Hell effect, people. Some people don't believe in him.
About 30 years ago, I can finally say to people, "Told you so," you know.
Bushong says he's going to write a scientific paper about his experience in 1994. And nearly 30 years after seeing the same thing from her front yard, Holly Graves has a wish.
I wish everybody'd see it. I do. I wish everybody would see it because it was an experience of a lifetime.
I'm Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.
All right. So people in the chat, let's do what we've been doing. Now, you guys heard the story. Before we give our opinion, before Anthony gives his opinion, what he thinks it is, if he believes that it can be visitors, Iran. So, guys in chat, 1, yes, it is a UFO. 2, no, it's not a UFO. And 3, that you think it's an alien ship from outer space. Because UFO and alien ships are two different things. UFO is just unidentified flying objects. So 1 for UFO, 2 for nope, nothing, 3 for you think it's an alien ship. Curious what people think. So, Ron, we'll start with you. So, Ron, everything you know about this 300 people seeing it in Michigan and all that, how do you feel that is this story is it credible or is it kind of made up by the media because there was so many phone calls?
You pretty much have to rule out drones because you're talking 1994.
Sure.
Right? So that, did they have things like that? Probably, but that's not it. And with the orbs, picking them up on radar, no military involvement, and when they don't make a big thing about it. I mean, like it was then there locally, Kalamazoo and all that, but when they don't make a real big thing about it, those are the ones that you really want to keep your eye on, that I'm more looking at like, there may be something there. The ones that they like to talk about and they want everybody to know about, those are the ones I kind of like, they're feeding me something. But I don't know. I mean, 300 people is no joke. That's a lot of people, man. 300. You know?
What do you think?
And
What do you think,
the
Anthony?
ones they showed so far, I mean, who knows what people say, if they're telling the truth or not, but I didn't see anything that looked like, they were lying or nothing. Especially the guy that called and said, I got a real one. Like that. That sounded legit. You know what I mean? So
When you
I
get
don't know.
multiple phone calls, right? Going to the police department, going to the news stations, back then especially, I find this case more credible with 300 witnesses, and that the radar operator came out and said that he had the hard target. He was able to fix it in and get them on target. So by him vindicating it and having 300 witnesses, I'm going to say I think it really happened. I think they really did experience something. I can't speak to what exactly it was, but UFO stands for unidentified flying object. Doesn't mean little green men, but I do think they did see something.
Yeah, and when I was researching this, I didn't see anything negative about the radar guy. Because if it wasn't for the radar guy, then you could probably kind of ship it off like, okay, maybe it was for jets, doing a test flight and all that. But when you're a radar guy working at an airport and stuff, you would know if there's
you would have the identifiers,
yes.
all that stuff.
Yeah, so all that. Even listen, military could do some things behind the scenes, but when they use the sky, people have, not us, but radar places, they have to be notified because of ships going in and out. Regular ships. Because last thing you want is a radar guy not knowing that a military's trying out 4 new jets. And here comes an airplane. Hey, we need to do a crash and landing. Or hey, our plane is messed up. We need to fly into your airport. Oh, sure, come on.
That's why they have Area 51. That's why they have testing grounds out there that they do all the testing like NASA does with their rockets. That's all that airspace out there is for that stuff, but not like Michigan over there, over like residential areas, especially somewhere like Kalamazoo. And if it was just besides the radar person seeing the identifiers and knowing, pretty sure people would have heard those because you hear jets, what I mean?
Very loud.
And
especially when they hit those afterburners,
Yeah.
And I truly believe for every one person that calls in, there's 3 people that don't. So if you just do a simple math like that, you're talking about over 900 people seeing this, probably more than that. That not everybody calls in and reports it, or they might not be next to a phone. Because remember, cell phones. I'm trying to think, cell phones.
I had one. I was working in the trade center, but that's when they were super expensive and they were big.
Yeah, not everybody has cell phones, so it's not like you have access to a phone.
It was 49 cents a minute.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And
it was a big brick, and you had to pull up the antenna.
Yep.
Oh, man. It's kind of funny where phones were the biggest things in the world. Then the fad was the phones, how small they could get. But now phones kind of grew back.
Oh, yeah. I remember when they had a flip phone that was like this big, man. A little Motorola flip phone.
But now phones grew back. And I remember everybody used to make fun of people that had these texts where it was text only on their sides. And most everybody does now is text. I don't even see people call people no more. Like, I hope my wife's not watching. It's driving me crazy because she'll be texting with her sister back and forth. I'm like, why text? Pick up just call her. but people like texting. And there was a time people used to make fun of people when they just had those little text devices. All they did was text.
I remember I told my mom she was using a flip phone. And then I gave her our first iPhone. And she was like, I don't want to. I created a monster. That's it. She would text me. I'd be 2 rooms over. Like that.
What's this? Paranormal in New York. I have watched many planes go over my house and turn off their transponders. We have a military airport, and the planes don't turn them on until they are a couple of miles away from the airport. Huh. That sounds dangerous. I wonder.
Yeah, I thought the transponders were on automatically. That's the homing beacon in case they crash.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting. Do you know what the name of that military base? That kind of would be fun little research to do on the side. And like, is that a normal practice?
stupid practice, if anything. I mean, God forbid the plane goes down, right outside the runway and nobody, witnessed it. How they going to find it?
Or another plane coming in.
Practice.
What about like the little Cessnas and all that come in? That's what,
I thought once you turned the plane on, that went on the transponder.
There's
some black box.
When I went down this article about the UFO, there are some year dates on this. Is kind of interesting. It says Ken Cross, 1953, when a blip on the radar appeared in a restricted airspace near Seoul Locks at an important commercial gateway. The U.S. Air Force and Cairns Base sent 2 experienced pilots in an F-89 Scorpion jet to investigate. The jet chased an object for about 30 minutes, and then 2 radars, the jet and the unidentified objects, enters over Lake Superior. They lost radio contact, and the Air Force pilot was never heard from again. Wow. Yeah, have you guys ever heard that story?
No.
Wow.
Sorry.
That's that sounds like be a pretty major story that the pilot never heard again, and they were flying, chasing this object in 1953. It's not like people had faster planes than the other person yet. Technology wasn't that crazy. Or maybe it was. What is this? What is this swamp gas here? Swamp gas, 1966.
It was the common answer everybody got back then when somebody had a sighting.
Let's see here. Hundreds of reports of UFOs hit southeast Michigan in March 66 after a sheriff officer received a UFO landing in a swamp in Dexter. Truck driver Frank Manor had gone into the swamp with his son, Ronald, and told the police at the time it was sort of a pyramid with blue light, antenna, The sightings across the country went all week. In the University of Michigan, Hillside College, reporting seeing strange lights. Dr. J. Allen, as part of the Air Force, has investigated UFOs turned up, and it was just a swamp gas. It drew criticism over accusation of a government cover. But I can't listen. I know there probably is some stuff about swamp gas out there, but can a swamp gas really create a thing to look like a pyramid with 3 lights?
I have a huge swamp right down the block from me by the dump. And I have never, I'm here 40 years, I've never seen swamp gas ever. I don't even know what that would look like, to be honest with you. Have any of you ever witnessed swamp gas before? Because I never have.
And I wonder if there's any video of somebody having a camera or military science that there's a video footage of what a swamp gas can make something look like.
I'll try to find some this week when I'm down in South Carolina.
Let's see.
Swamp gas and whatever you would think with swamp gas, if that's true, there's got to be some kind of footage of a swamp gas creating like a vision like that.
I know there is swamp gas, so like there is very flammable too. Like I don't know if it's methane or something that comes out.
But but you can't say that this swamp gas was in the eastern part of the Michigan. The 4 lights that people saw were on the west side of Michigan, so they weren't even near this swamp.
I got a swamp gas video down here, and the way it showed it, I'll hit play now. The way it shows it doesn't look like.
I've seen this. This is cool.
Like you would see gas, like objects in the sky from it. It's just bubbling out. So that's the methane that's trapped underneath the swamp. How would that make lights in the sky is beyond me.
Now, Danny here wrote, I've seen swamp gas. It looks like fluorescent and greenish blue green stuff. Now, you say you see swamp gas that looks fluorescent, greenish blue green. Are you talking about from the water it looks greenish blue green?
Or over the water or up in the atmosphere?
Up in the air. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Or up in the air, because that'll be interesting.
We're not talking about like on the surface. We're talking about like seeing it flying around in the sky and stuff.
And it looks like there was one more they had there in that year. Let's see. Or here we go. It is. Wordsworth Air Force Base, 1975. In October 1975, both radar and men on the ground claimed they spotted a bright white disc hover over Wismar Air Force Base. They had a plane pursued, but the UFO reportedly shot into space before they could reach it. There were nuclear weapons at that base, and some say that UFOs go around nuclear because that's what they recharge their ship on. It was seen on the ground by a soldier on the ground. It was seen from the air traffic tower. It was caught on radar, so multiple ways that it was being observed. So that happened in 1975 on military base. Again, it's usually if you're in the military, you don't come out and tell people these kind of stories.
I say this. I say the three of us this summer or spring, we rent the RV and we travel to Roswell. And from New York to Roswell, we make a couple, pit stops and film in different locations along the way. I say we take a week this summer and the three of us do that. I think that would be a great adventure for the three of us to go do that and film.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, we should definitely do it, man.
That'd be fun. God, just there's so many great hotspots. Not hotspots, but known areas. Because any area could turn out to be a hotspot. It's not like I'm sure that the UFOs go back to the exact same places. But beyond that, is there any more stories in that area where they've seen more lights exactly where those 300 people were, I wonder?
I'm sure there are, but none that I know of off the top of my head.
I have no idea.
But think about the brightness of those 4 lights had to be for you to call. I mean, we all seen some lights in the sky, but not enough to call. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To pick up
Remember
that
the
phone
radar?
and call.
Remember the radar guy, like how he said that? I don't know, maybe it's the trainer, but he said they were 4 tin cans. Like maybe that's his way of saying they was something physical, solid.
Solid object. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Ron.
Oh yeah, I'm ready in the summer to
X1, what's up, Nick? He said, I used to live in Roswell and Albuquerque area. There's never any UFOs, but if you go to northern New Mexico near Aztec, they're up there all the time, and there's way more in Arizona than there is in and then it stopped. Maybe he was going to say New Mexico.
New Mexico. I'm just pulling up one last thing. Actually, I'm going to pull a couple things. But let's start with, I'm going to pull up unidentified S4 channel here. And let me put that link, and then we'll go to Ron's channels next. We'll see what's coming up with these guys.
Did you see that from Cat?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing the tabs. I didn't see nothing from Cat.
No, Cat said if you see PayPal from Doghouse, it's her. From Cat 1137.
Oh, Cat. Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry I don't have my Outlook up to see that. I appreciate it. Let me give this to you. There we go. Give me a second. And she is 100% correct. Thank you. $10. That is freaking awesome.
You're the
Just
best.
that,
Cat.
you're gonna get. If I can find it.
4 lights.
And let me tell you, Kat just helped me out because I actually made a purchase with my account using PayPal for not for episode 8 because episode 8 is done. I wrote the script. We're gonna start. I'm gonna send out the scripts to everybody and maybe start setting up like next week after Christmas to do voiceover. But I just purchased like a bunch of let me say extra scenes. So when I combine combine 8, I have certain scenes that's gonna transition 1 to 2 easier, 3 to 4, and a couple little extra scenes here and there. So kind of like in a way, it's like a remix in a small way, make it look like one big smooth cartoon. So that's cool. So let's look at Unidentified S4 channel here. He's got this. What's tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, God, today's the 20th. Wow, that's crazy. Tomorrow's the 21st. We got the TR3B. What do we know? So it looks like we're going to be diving deep into the pyramid.
Yup. That should be interesting tomorrow. Because since I had my incident, I've always been fascinated with this. I want to know. And you know what? I found out that Strange Recon Jeff also seen a TR3B over his house with his mother in the 90s. And I found that a lot of people had these sightings in the 90s. So we'll talk about this tomorrow.
Maybe a lot in 1994.
Yeah, the 90s, man, were big for the triangle craft.
That is awesome. And then let's jump on over here to neighbors. So what do we got coming up? Also tomorrow, but aren't you traveling tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, tomorrow that's 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 p.m. Pacific. Because what I'm going to talk about, obviously the title says it, but as you know, I just made a video about the Moultrie and Dr. Kirkpatrick just had a roundtable and basically an invite only to the press about Aero. That's like the group that took over for the UAP task force, and they're going into like being asked questions and like how far back they're going to go. And they're saying to this date, they looked at a lot of stuff. They don't see anything that suggests that aliens we made contact with, all this kind of crap. So just going to discuss that and want to find out what other people have to say, because at some point, disclosure, what do you want them to disclose? They're not going to disclose anything. So I want to just discuss it. That's all.
I always say that disclosure already happened, and now they're just drip drop, information.
Yeah, disclosure happened for a lot of people. Like, people have their experiences or whatever, but like, we don't need validation from them. You know what I mean? And because it'll never be a whole truth. So, it's I just say they're full of crap. That's it. But that's it. We'll be discussing that tomorrow.
But hey,
and Kat, I think it was you, Kat, that asked. There you go. You got it.
I try to look at the bright side. Maybe the disclosing is the key for some people to wake up and do their own investigation. Maybe this will, the younger people, who knows? Sometimes there is good even out of junk.
Yeah, now they have their new excuse. It was always national security. Now they added, we don't know what it is. That's the other one now that they go behind.
Guys, live on this air, a message just appeared on Cosmic Neighbors channel. Unidentified S4 out of nowhere just came in and wrote, "Let's do it." Wow. Let's do it again. I mean, just live. I mean, it's amazing how that happens.
Oh, wow.
God, I think we're all experiencing a Mandela effect right there. It disappeared. So beyond that, now guys, let me ask the people in the chat right now. People in the chat. I will be back. Of course, we'll visit. We'll be on Anthony's tomorrow. But on Thursday, what is if I did one subject on a Thursday? Right now in the chat, what storyline you guys think you should hit? Could be anything. I'm curious. What is the flavor of the chat want us to discuss? Is it a famous Bigfoot sighting that we don't know about? Paranormal?
Can I say one thing, Eric?
Yeah.
Yesterday, Tex did a show, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And they had a guy on there called the Sasquatch Father.
Okay, I know
you hear that guy. Okay,
yeah.
And he told a story about a gigantic 9-foot tall Bigfoot being outside his house, and the spotlights go on from the house, and the Bigfoot made like this big roar because he seen his reflection in his bay windows. And all his windows in his house are tinted. And as the Sasquatch was walking along the side of the house, it kept seeing himself along all these windows. And finally, the Sasquatch walked over to the pond that's in front of his house, took a drink with his hand, kept walking, and he walked into a pasture where this big 1,000-pound bull was that the neighbor had. The next morning he gets up, goes outside, and there's prints there, and they're checking. And it turned out that the Sasquatch tore the head off the bull. So I just messaged text this morning. And of course the cops were there, state police, regular cop. I said to text this morning, I got to talk to this guy. I got to know what state this happened in. I got to get the police reports for this, because if I could corroborate this story, this would make it dynamite, Bigfoot talk.
Hell yeah.
Right?
That would. That's. I
Pulling
knew
the head off
the
the
other day.
bull?
I gotta rewatch it.
I never heard anything like that
I always
before.
try to watch them live when I can, or I'll rewatch that one.
Yeah,
the
yes,
earthquake in
show.
California near where we live. Oh, yeah, California has a lot of earthquakes.
Yeah, they had a 6.4 or 7. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, in our school, we actually had earthquake drills. I don't know if a lot of other schools have earthquake drills, but we always had to do earthquake drills where we had to get underneath our desk and all that. Like once a month, we had to have one because
fire drills.
Well, in California, there's always earthquakes. San Andreas
They just had one yesterday, 6.7.
Is that what it was?
California.
6.7? Yeah, I thought it was up there.
Beyond that, everybody, I appreciate you guys all being here today. And so are you going to be driving, Ron, tomorrow when you're traveling?
I'm going to be, no, when I'm on tomorrow, that I should be in South Carolina. But I should be driving, I would say, in the next couple of hours.
Oh, you are going to go today after you met.
Oh, I'm going to Virginia today.
Oh, all right.
Then tomorrow I'll be driving down in the morning. So I should be in South Carolina around 3.
So it's 1 o'clock now. If you got on the road by 3, you should be there by 8.
Yeah, depending on traffic and all that crap like that. But yeah, I figure, I'd be there like probably, hopefully I could get on the road by 3, but CVS screwed me over.
Yeah.
And people in the chat, keep an eye out on Ron. We want to make sure he makes it. We don't want to hear that his car was found and he was empty. He was taking, some light flew over the area. We don't need Ron to be starting to get probed for Christmas.
He just gave me the horns. That's it.
We don't need Ron to get probed, right? Maybe after New Year's he could get probed, but not for Christmas.
Send you a big bottle of Astroglide.
Why can't it be abducted? It has to go with the probed.
Well,
like
abduction, they do probe you during an abduction. So, you get best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah, Ron. Come here.
Well, let's put it this way. If I do my next stream and I'm standing, there's a problem. Right?
Don't worry,
all
Ron.
right, guys. Everybody in the chat.
That much, Ron.
Oh.
Before this channel gets taken down with probing and long sticks sticking out, police equipment. We'll see everybody on Anthony's channel tomorrow. See you guys later.